When the sun is shining, you've got to take advantage of it. This has been a heat wave for many, but we're in the shade today. We're never in the shade. We're out there finding out for you where you are and how you are, enlightening you. But we're in the shade today because it's a little bit warm. Welcome to another Your Lurgan podcast. I'm Donagh McKeown.
And I'm Michael Scott. How are you?
We missed you last week. In fact, we looked towards you and you weren't there. It was a bit sad in a way.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
No, actually, we were on holiday. I was up in Portrush. I'm actually glad it was good weather most of the time, with a wee skift of rain here and there. I'm sort of glad that we didn't have the heat that we have now, because I was staying in a tent and I'd imagine that we'd have been baked in that tent. So
the biggest question for us all is, did you actually get some sleep? Because that was a concern before you left.
I did. I went and I bought earplugs and they worked wonderfully. So yes, I did. I had a good night's sleep. I'm not sure about the rest of the people in the tent though, because I was snoring quite a bit.
And you can give them to the wife for the rest of the week then, can't you?
Well, actually no, because they're disposable ones, so no, they'll be no good there.
Right,
okay. But
I'm sure she's thought of the idea now herself.
I think she
having
has,
an easier life.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about us. That's enough about us. What do you think about us? We have plenty of stories, and the biggest one of the week is this big council strike.
That's right. That comes into effect from Monday. So that's members of NIPSA, GMB and Unite who are taking action after talks over pay. I think we discussed this before.
Yeah.
I think actually the last time we were here we were talking about this. Talks over pay and conditions have basically collapsed and there's been no agreement. So the workers are, I think it's 1,000 workers are going to go out and strike. Now, at the time of recording, we don't know exactly how that's going to play out. By the time you listen to this, we may well have some more information on our website, because we have asked the council to explain what they think is going to happen. So keep an eye on Your Lurgan for that. Scroll through our timeline, you'll find it somewhere, I'm sure.
I know as an aspect of the ongoing kind of discussions, there was some resolution about bin collections, which is the biggest concern for, I suppose, many in the councils. They were running in some sort of form.
That was the last time there was strike
they may
action.
Disappear altogether.
Quite possibly.
Well,
yeah.
We're speculating, of course.
Yeah,
it's most likely.
All services are going to be affected. That's going to be everything from even affecting the park and everything, your parks and bin collections and even the registration of births, deaths and marriages. So it's going to be an interesting. The strike's going to run for a week, from what I'm led to believe, and then after a week they'll assess how things are going, whether that's going to continue or what, we don't quite know. But
and of course the details as they emerge will be on Your Lurgan, the Facebook page and the website as well.
Absolutely, we'll keep you informed.
Yeah, so let's go to some other stories then.
Yes, I was just checking my notes to see what we have next, and it was the park and ride down William Street, Wesley Place. There's been complaints about the state of it, and I have to say, there's the birds have obviously had enough of us. The state of Wesley Place park and ride, and to be fair, it has been a bit of a tip recently. There's been broken glass, or bottles thrown all over the place. There's litter all over the place. But this comes off the back of one of the local councillors, Peter Lavery, who's an alliance member for the Lurgan area, and he's been raising concerns that basically Translink should be doing more to keep the place tidy. I think
so that's who has responsibility, because from memory I look at the signs and I thought it was local council, but now you say it's Translink.
It's Translink. It's a park and ride, so it's their responsibility, because it facilitates overflow parking basically at the train station. So although mind you, I think most people who park in there aren't really going to the train station. I think most people who park there are heading into the town. But anyway, regardless,
I think it's there obviously because they have a duty of the train. They have to have some responsibility. Having said that, there is a smaller car park alongside the train station at the far side in William Street.
It was actually interesting reading some of the comments that we published that story. A lot of the people who were commenting were saying it's not the people who are using the train who are causing these problems. It's people at the weekend who are maybe coming out of local establishments, shall we say. We don't want to name names, but
I couldn't imagine it was anybody from the train, because their cars are parked there. They're not likely to do damage just for the sake of it.
It's rubbish just being left there. So I mean, we've asked Translink for a response. Whenever we get that, we will bring it to you, hopefully by Monday. So
just when you're on the point and the issue, talk of the improvements for Lurgan Station. And still controversy around that in the long and short term. How do we get around the busy trains that they're talking? I saw another issue last night when they were trying to increase the fast train from Belfast to
Yeah, because
Dublin.
there's been talk of that for a while. And I think there's part of the is it the Belfast City deal that's been much mooted. I know Newry Moore and Down District Council have been part of that as well, because I recall this from my previous life as editor of the Newry Democrat. And one of the things that was mooted was hourly trains, shuttle trains that were going to get you there in, well, half the time than what they do now. I think it takes 2 hours or something to get down there. And so that would be the aim, to improve that service. But obviously for that to happen, I think it's going to involve a lot more work than what people think. It's not just going to involve working on the current lines. So
I think most people were thinking, that I saw a comment from Lurgan at least, were thinking, oh dear, more trains through Lurgan, more stoppages on what are basically the main arterial route from the M1 into Lurgan. And talking again, we're always talking, if it's in South Down, we're talking about the bridge across narrow water. Here we're talking about the bridge that could go over that particular station, which would mean zillions of pounds, well not quite zillions, but millions of pounds of investment. And is it likely? That's what I suppose the concern was.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been something that's been talked about for a long, long time. How it's going to play out, I don't know. Well, there's going to be more parking spaces down there anyway, whenever this new train station is built. Well, that's the plan anyway. As for how a new train will affect Lurgan, we don't really know yet at this stage, because nothing's really been sort of cemented in terms of how that's going to pan out, but we'll keep an eye on that one.
With those of us with the Smart Pass, we'll always be glad to see more trains, because we can
absolutely
use them.
It's funny, I was just out of interest earlier on, I was something to do with football I was having a look at earlier on, and I couldn't believe it takes over 2.5 hours to get from Portadown train station to Portrush. It's mad. So, I'm all for faster trains.
Crazy banana. Yeah. If you have thoughts on that, info@yourlurgan.com. We'd love to hear from you. Next story.
I'm not going to sing, but the next story is about Garth Brooks. You
do have friends in low places.
I certainly do. That's why I hang out with you, Donna. Yeah. Anyway,
Ching, I set that up.
You did. Sure. Well, tomorrow might never come. What were we talking about? Yes,
Garth Brooks.
Hannon coaches have cancelled their coaches to Garth Brooks over concerns about how far away the bus park is for the event. The coach park is something like 35 minutes away of a walk from Croke Park. And there's only one way in and one way out. And they're not very happy about this, so they have decided...
is there a distribution point on the way that they can then go to the park afterwards?
No, you have to... Once you come out of the stadium, you have to walk to the bus. It's a bit like if you go to Slane. Have you ever done Slane? I suppose you have to walk from one end of the village to the other. Which, they're not very happy about.
Well, you haven't asked, but what do their customers think? Have they had a choice in this?
No, they haven't. They've just taken the decision. Now, I know other local firms who are running coaches have been on social media saying that they are still running their coaches. So I'm not really sure. I think a lot of people have been sort of concerned that their bus might be cancelled, but by the looks of it, it doesn't look like it. So, yeah, interesting.
You mean it doesn't look like that they will get the bus?
No, it doesn't look like it. There'll be other buses cancelled. Certainly not locally anyway.
So have you gone back to Hannon's and asked, in light of the fact that every other bus is going to be going the same, I'm sure the customer already knows that?
No, I think they've made their plans, so...
Okay.
No.
Right to reply at any stage, of course, from Hannon's buses. Yeah. So, other stories? No more singing, please.
Oh, it didn't start. Well, we're going to talk about your musical. Well, we're going to talk about some more music.
We are, yeah.
Eugene Green, a fantastic song, by the way. I thought it was great.
Yeah, really good. He has quite a few more. Probably will get a few more, and he'll be putting out a few more. Now he has a regular job, but he really has had a passion for this music for a long time. I met him up at Brownlow House remember the day we had the big party there?
Oh yeah.
The bands were all there playing their covers, as it were. He was there, and he came over and asked me. He said, "I'd love to sing in Brownlow House," and I said, "Well, I tell you what. we can make it happen. And through the good offices of David Martin and Neil, who's the assistant manager there, I'm not sure that's his right title, they opened the doors to us, and we were able to get a wee shoot there, and then we had a shoot outside in the blazing sun. You may have seen the sunlight blazing through the little veranda place we were at. He loved it. And I think a lot of people liked it too, and you liked it. Shine a light.
Yeah, well, shall we give it a listen?
My love for you is calling. I know the day is dawning. I see you sitting in the room. My mind is hesitating. Your love is always waiting, just like the summer in your eyes. I know what's going on. I'll see you right. I know what's going on. Just shine the light, shine the light, shine the light, shine the light, shine the light.
And that's Eugene Green, one of many musicians that are around this part of the world. Reach out if you want to kind of get your work kind of out there. Maybe we'll be able to facilitate you at Urlurgan. info@urlurgan.com.
Indeed, please do. What else are we going to talk about now? Oh, Anushka Black. Yes, Anushka's from...
Oh yes, I remember seeing Anushka earlier in the year.
That's right. About a month ago we had her on, but she's been to America. She was taking part in the Royal Miss International pageant. I can't remember what exactly it was called. Apologies to those who organise it for the incorrect term of your name. But
you won't be selected next year, that's for sure.
I don't think I'd have been selected any year. I don't think I need to worry about that. But yeah, Anushka's come back and she's done very well. She won Miss Congeniality.
Oh, that's like the movie, isn't it?
Exactly. Our friends
Sandra
apparently,
Bullock,
our friends have been calling her Sandra since she came home. But while she has finished on a high, she has decided to, I don't know what you do. You hang up your sash, you hang up your crown. I don't really know. But anyway, basically her career as a pageant model, I don't know if that's the right term, but she's not entering pageants anymore. She's retired from it. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. Have you retired from pageants yourself?
Oh, I retired a long time ago. Not since I won Best in Class at Balmoral Show.
I think you deserved it too. I saw the other... anyway. Yeah, well done, Anushka. I'd love to get her on. Well, of course she has been on talking to Johnny. So let's have a look at that.
I am exhausted. I need like a holiday to recover from the States. I'm still trying to find my bearings now, and it's just mummy mode. It's uniforms and shoes, and yeah, there's no time to rest for me at the minute.
You're back to normality now. But talk us through the competition then. You're in the top 16 and you won an award as well, so you must be delighted.
Oh, it was amazing. Being a Royal UK finalist from August 2019 and then winning the UK title February 2020. It has been a long time coming to actually get going. So placing the top 16 was my goal. Everything I wanted and more. I would have been really disappointed if I didn't place, to be honest, because I had worked so hard for 2 years. So that was always the goal for me. It was never to bring home the crown. I don't think my body or my bank balance could have taken any more that I actually won that job role. So top 16 was absolutely perfect and got to recompete again and on stage again, and it was just everything. And I won the International Miss Congeniality Award, which I didn't even know they did. We were told after competing on the Friday in our evening gown, so that was all the preliminary competitions done. And once we came off stage, it was, okay, now it's time to vote for your Miss Congeniality. And I kind of went, what? How am I supposed to pick like one girl? I think there was 32 of us. I can't pick. I must have stood there for about 5 minutes and just ended up just picking one. So didn't even know that was a thing. I won Miss Congeniality, my first pageant, like 7 years ago, and won it in every system that I've been in since. So to get an international Miss Congeniality was just unreal.
Anushka. I keep wanting to sing Babushka
That's all right.
by Kate Bush.
Kate Bush is all in these days. She's all the rage.
Absolutely. I'll roll you up that hill in a second or two.
I'm going to roll back down the hill
Yeah.
in that heat.
So let's go to other stories then. What's in your fine list of stories to talk about?
We're going to move into the world of sport, and thank goodness the Irish League season's back. My Saturdays are back. Happy days.
Happy days for a whole lot of people.
Happy days for my wife. She gets rid of me for a few hours on a Saturday.
We weren't saying that, but we were thinking it. But
I don't know what she's thinking, I can tell you. Glenavon. Well, first of all, we should mention that we launched a podcast during the week. Sorry, Donna, we left you out of that one. But,
it's all right.
It's all right. Me and Johnny decided we'd have a chat about football and preview the Irish League season. Now, yes, okay, the season has officially started by the time you listen to this, but you can go ahead and listen to that again. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Anchor, just scroll down one and you will find our in-depth look at the season ahead in the Irish League. Features all 12 teams and where we think they're going to finish. Now, we have sort of predicted mid-table mediocrity for Glenavon, unfortunately, this year, but if Glenavon finish 7th and qualify through or for Europe through that and win the Irish Cup, I'd be a very happy man.
I'd say you would, because you love those European trips.
I've never, Joe, something, you say that,
wow.
But I have only been to Europe once with Glenavon, and that was till Kilmarnock, which isn't very far.
It's not really Europe, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, it's still within,
it's definitely not Europe these days for different
a European
reasons.
trip doesn't count if you're only going the Stena line. So I think in those days it was maybe the Sea Cat, but so a proper European trip would be ideal for me. I would love that,
but you need help on that one. I know I'm talking myself into that. If it's
you
a
want
big
to carry
Europe.
my suitcase?
Yeah, that's the one.
We'll see.
Well, I have to hide myself because you're not allowed to carry much of a suitcase these days. Separate from all of that, the match was on yesterday, but I understand that you, by the wonders of science, have been able to give us a match report from last night.
Oh yes. Close your eyes and open them again. I'm going to disappear and reappear at the Ballymena Showgrounds any second now. Hello from the Ballymena Showgrounds. Hello, where it is quite sunny, as you can see from behind my head. It has finished here in quite dramatic circumstances. Glenavon to Ballymena 2. I should say Ballymena 2, Glenavon 2, because they're at home. But Aaron Prendergast is the man that I'll be talking about today. The teenager has scored in stoppage time here at the end of the second half to earn Glenavon a well-earned point, it has to be said. They were good value for their point. Played for most of the second half with 9 men. Andy Doyle was sent off, and who's the other man that was sent off? You can see I'm discussing here with my colleagues about who actually was sent off. We can't remember. Doesn't matter. Glenavon were down to 9 men. You'll be able to read all about it in the match report. Owen Bradley was sent off, that's right. He'd only come on the pitch. So that was how the second half. The first half, Glenavon were 2-0 down. Paul McElroy scored probably the first goal of the league campaign for any club, and the second goal was scored by Jordan Gibson, who's from Donaghtoney, a man who many Glenavon fans would like to have seen at Moorview Park this summer, but he's playing for Ballymena, so what do you do? And then Glenavon just before half time got back into the game thanks to Peter Campbell. He found the back of the net with a well-placed strike. And then, of course, Glenavon battled back. They actually played really, really well, I have to say. And it was the big man himself, Prendergast, who comes on, scores the equaliser, sends the Glenavon fans into absolute raptures. Fantastic. I'm losing my voice. I'm away to get a drink.
Well, thanks for that report, and we'll get the full kind of brunt of that in terms of what it means in the longer term, but not today.
Yeah. Also, if you go to yourlurgan.com and go to the sports section, you will be able to follow the live blog that I did on Saturday afternoon. Everything that happened in the game as it happened, but should be a good read, hopefully.
And that'll be regular any time there's a game.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to, in the past, what we have done is done match reports and put them out after the final whistle, but now we actually did it for the Glenavon game against Glentoran, the playoff game, and it did really, really well. A live blog of how the game was going. So we're going to try and keep that going this year. So yeah, one of our new innovations.
So the sports department, they're very large and wide and covering and arcing.
What are you calling me? You call me wide?
I meant that there were other people in it. Anyway, if you want to take insult, you go right ahead, because you've only insulted me since the start, so that's easy.
Oh yeah. What else are we going to talk about? Oh yes. Sticking with football. Also yesterday was the start of the Irish Cup. Would you believe? And some of our junior teams were taking part in that. I say junior. I mean, Donaldstown aren't junior. Junior are there intermediate. In fact, they're not junior at all. They're all intermediate. What am I talking about? We had Donaldstown, who were away to Larne Tech Old Boys. And the other night I caught up with their manager, Scobie Pritchard, to talk about the season ahead for them, because their Irish League seasons gets underway next week. So, an interesting chat with Scobie, and here's a wee bit of it.
Yes, Larne Tech Old Boys here. So another difficult game. Amateur league sides are notoriously difficult to beat. We had a couple of very good games against amateur league sides last year, and listen, they'll get all the respect they deserve, and we know it's going to be a difficult game, so we'll have to be on our game to progress.
Yeah. I suppose pre-season's now over. In essence, we're talking here after this Glenavon game. How's it going for you? I mean, how have your new faces all settled in?
It could have went a lot better. Picked up a lot of injuries, but having said that, the lads that have stepped in have done quite well. So, you know, for me it's been mixed, but at the same time there's been more positives than negatives.
You were talking about the cup and the cup runs. I remember in the good old, almost in the last century, but not quite, 2000, 2001, I was working with the BBC doing kind of match reports, putting them into the post, and they sent me out to cover the first round of the Irish Cup, and then I had to follow that team onwards and onwards and onwards, and eventually at semi-final stage I think somebody else took over. But it was fascinating because I was at every round up until the semi-finals. Quite a few rounds, and quite a few. I ended up being in Ballyclare. I think we started it over. Where was that? Outside Drummondess.
Oh, Drummondess.
And then
Drummondess
lost, and then I think it was the team from Killylay that featured for a while. They did really well. They got to the quarterfinals. Maybe they got to the semi-finals.
I do remember Killylay going on a really good cup run. Yeah.
So I followed those for every round of the cup. So it has a special feeling for me, as it were.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress.
Love the Irish Cup. Would love to win it again this year. We also have an interview in your Lurgan as well this week with Lee Dixon, who's a manager of Lurgan Town. They're also in Irish Cup action, and big shout out as well to Oxford United, who also compete in the Irish Cup as well. So good luck to them. And of course, all your junior teams, if you're listening, you're very welcome to send your match reports, sport@yourlurgan.com. Please do keep in touch with us over the course of the season.
I know you have other sporting connections to come and talk about, but one of the interviews I had during the week on the chatty bench was with a former Irish, not Irish League, but certainly some of those leagues, manager, Martin O'Neill, who was a manager of Celtic, Lurgan Celtic for a while too. So
not to be confused with Martin O'Neill, who was manager of Celtic.
Not quite, but a few people did, misconnected, but that's okay. So here's a quick look at that.
And then my career path went into social work from that, and I had sort of spent the 30-year career in social work, working in London. I worked in the East End of London, in Tower Hamlets and Bethnal Green.
Fair to say, from this distance or from that sort of time, they were tough areas.
Very, very, very poor areas, and it was a bit of a shock to me to see the city of London isn't very far from where I was working in Shoreditch, which I think is now quite a gentrified place. Then it was a very poor place. And I worked on an estate there called John Square House, doing a social survey and trying to help the Tenants Association in their work. And the state of the houses there was just unbelievable. You wouldn't believe the state of the houses. There was a house, a flat there with a man and his son, and the house was covered in black fungi from every wall and the ceilings, and can you imagine the spores coming out of that and what it was doing to people's health? So I worked on that, trying to improve those housing conditions, and I also then worked for a while as a probation officer, and really enjoyed it as well. Completely different, because the way the court system operates is completely different than the way a community worker or a social work community worker would work. And it was very, very official. had to go to court and write court reports and so on
What
and
a
present.
dehumanisation in all of that, by the sound of it.
Well, to some extent, I represented people who, were having difficult circumstances. Some of them had committed petty crimes, some more serious crimes, some at risk of losing their liberty. And it was very interesting and, very emotional time as well, because I remember going to visit a woman way up, and it was in East Ham, and she had been battered senseless by her husband. And it was like she had a lovely wee girl, and just your heart goes out to people. You try to help them as best you can, and I did.
Now that that's out of the way, there'll be more with Martin. I think it's coming up on Monday again.
Monday, yeah.
Monday evening. So back to the sport.
Back to the sport, the world of GAA. Let me just double check. Yes, I was just checking that my list was right. GAA, yeah. And you were out at St Paul's, wasn't you?
St Paul's, yeah. St Paul's ladies were winning Division 4. They won 11 matches in a row. This was the 11th match. And they had a presentation for them with Eugene Craney and myself being there to kind of report on that. Now, they presented them with a trophy, but truth is it wasn't the trophy. Central Council or Armagh GA wouldn't allow that out. They have a special night for presentation to all the teams. So it was to give a flavour to the girls themselves. Oh, the beautiful birds flying into the distance there. So that was there. They did that on purpose. Perhaps these are fans of St Peter's, who knows? But that was there on the evening. So we'll give you a quick reflection of that.
But Daniel McConnell was one that kept this team going, and all through them years when things maybe weren't 100%. So this is credit to her for her hard work, and I'm just glad I've come in and able to help the girls to bring them on to something different. But I have to say a bit of recognition for the work that's been done in the 8 years previous. They came in last year, so good stuff. Brilliant to her for.
And you're still going to play the music in the changing rooms before the matches?
It's just something I've been doing for 10 years. I think.
That's an exclusive.
St Paul's, if you want to come up a wee bit closer. St Paul's, if you just want to come up a wee bit closer, okay. I'm here on behalf of Armagh LGFA, okay, to present the trophy, the league trophy for you. Absolutely delighted for obvious reasons that you are out of Division 4, okay. But well done on a good campaign. Always like to see teams in North Armagh doing well. But for teams that maybe a few years ago were struggling for numbers, and there's a lot of them about, and then to see what you have progressed through Shorty. I know Shorty had said he was going last year and he's still here. He's definitely plenty of plans for you for next year as well, okay? He was telling us all about them. So girls, keep together, keep at the hard work. Pre-season's a big thing for Shorty, so you have to come back with your pre-season work all done and compete in Division 3, which I have no doubt that you will. So if I want to call St Paul's captain up to receive the trophy.
You're going to have fun now, Eugene, getting the captains out of that one to have a word with them.
Yes, by all means, you're going to do it now, Donna, yeah.
And ladies' football's very, very strong. I think there's another presentation coming up on Tuesday with the girls from Clonard. So we might be out of that if we have your permission, of course.
We do. You do. Go on ahead. I'll let you out.
Decent man.
So you say that as if I lock you up in the house and don't let you out unless I say, right, go on, where you go.
No, I lock myself up in the house. It's good to kind of ask permission and then, or you could do it and then ask permission afterwards, which is not the way to do it.
Yeah. That's I think about us, except to mention, what have we got? We've got. Oh, yeah, follow us on social media. We've got a brand new social media channel that you can follow us on now. We're now on LinkedIn.
Wow.
Yeah. So you'll be able to see a lot of the business news that we post, and for example, we are posting a lot of jobs at the minute, job ads. Which also, by the way, is another idea. If you're looking for staff, give us a shout. We might be able to help you find that perfect someone for your business. Advertising at yourlurgan.com. There you go. But yeah, we're on LinkedIn now, as well as Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I think that's them all. At Your Lurgan on all those, and then just search for Your Lurgan on LinkedIn. You'll find us there. Just connect with us, please. Good to have you with us.
And if you want to contact us on email, that's info@yourlurgan.com. You can address it to Michael or myself or both. It's up to you. But if it's a message about the webpage and the rest, he's the man. If it's about the Chatty Bench podcast, well, that's both of us.
Yeah, we'll sort you out. Don't worry. Just get in contact. We'll sort you out.
So that's it for Your Lurgan's podcast today in a rather beautiful Lurgan Park, but I think you guessed that already. The geese, the ducks, the swans, the pigeons, they've all flown, and they're not with us at the moment. But we'll give you a wave and say goodbye for this particular podcast. I'm Donagh McKeown.
And I'm Michael Scott.
Bye now.